Herdling opens on concrete and quiet. A nameless child wakes under an overpass, the kind of place that turns conversations into echoes, and meets a towering, woolly creature with its snout stuck in litter. You help, you pet, you give it a name. Then you take your place at the back of the pack and begin to nudge something bigger than a single animal toward home. That rhythm, care, connect, guide defines everything. Herdling is almost entirely wordless, closer to journey than to a traditional story, and it needs no exposition to make you understand the goal. The city is flipped cars and cold steel. The horizon is a call. You'll coax one calicorn into trusting you, then another and another, until your single traveling companion becomes a small, shaggy procession with personalities and quirks that stick. One might trail you like a loyal dog. One might be all grump and drooping brow. One is always ready to play fetch whenever campfire embers are warm and the world feels safe for a minute. Naming them isn't just flavor, it's how the game quietly moves them from the herd to your herd. Mechanically, you're a shepherd. You don't puppet calicorns like pawns. You influence their motion from behind. A gentle prod keeps the group moving. A sharp call pulls them to a stop. You can ask for a slow, careful creep through tight spaces, or a pounding stampede when a slope demands momentum, or a predator demands speed. Reading the terrain is the puzzle. Narrow bridges force you to tighten ranks and recenter the group. Fragile ice makes you weigh the risks of speed against the safety of soft steps. Bird nests and other territorial threats turn pathfinding into stealth, where your patience and positioning matter more than reflex. The trick is that herding is imprecise on purpose. You will lose the edge of the pack to curiosity or panic and need to gather them back into formation. You will swing wide around an obstacle and find yourself managing a dozen small corrections while a river current tries to pull your front line away. Those messy moments are where the system comes alive, because your commands are simple and their responses are organic. The game gives you tools to make that manageable, slowing the group for millimeter movements, charging a stampede to clear a hazard in one noisy surge, but it never lets the herd feel like a single obedient unit. They are individuals, not hitboxes. That individuality is more than animation. You can stop to brush out thorns, offer berries to patch wounds, and give head pats just because you feel like it. Rest spots turn into tiny vignettes of personality. A calicorn that refuses to sit until you sit. A troublemaker that noses into your bag. The sleepy giant that plants itself by the fire like a statue. When danger bites, and it can, injuries show in limps and blood, and the scramble to find healing becomes a small, frantic story of its own. Death is possible. If you keep everyone safe, the journey ends full. If you don't, the trek carries those ghosts. Either way, the game never scolds you with meters of pop-ups. It trusts you to care without being told to. Herdling spaces are built to make that care feel big. Okomotive's painterly art, soft edges, deliberate color, just so strokes, turns busted freeways into somber lines and open plains into invitations. Your favorite moments will almost certainly be the breathers, the sudden meadows where the grass runs tall and vibrant and the herd's coats bloom to match as they sprint. The screen fills with motion, and for a minute the game stops being about escorting fragile lives through a hostile world and becomes a shared release, like watching rescues learn the meaning of open field for the first time. Music is your co-pilot. The score breathes with the herd pulling tempo from your pace. When you creep, it hushes. When you rally and run, it swells, all low drums and bright winds and strings that carry the feeling of leaving concrete behind. It never fights the scenery for attention. It frames it, then steps out of the way until it's time to make your throat hold a lump for a few seconds longer than you expected. It's the best kind of reactive soundtrack, the kind that makes you speed up just to hear it crest. As a game, Herdling keeps its verb set narrow and its runtime short. Across 4 or 5 hours, you'll repeat a loop of shepherding, solving environmental blockages, skirting danger, and resting. It's a focused pilgrimage with a clear destination and very few detours. That clarity is a strength. The game does not dilute its emotional through line with crafting or skill trees or side quests. It's also where your mileage may vary. If you want escalating mechanics, deep systems, or set-piece puzzles that demand perfect execution, you'll find gentleness instead. The difficulty curves by scenario rather than by stat. The aha comes from reading space and managing bodies, not deciphering an elaborate contraption. There are rough patches. Interaction prompts can get muddled when the herd bunches up, making it tricky to target the exact calicorn you want to pet, feed, or groom. Camera and control perspective occasionally fight your intentions during stealthier sequences, especially in tight geometry where you're shepherding across depth rather than width. On some platforms, there are moments where performance stumbles more than you'd expect for something this minimalist. None of this breaks the journey, but it does tug at the hem of immersion in fleeting moments. Even with those snags, what lingers is tenderness. Herdling understands that escort mission is a dirty phrase because it's usually about protecting something helpless that never feels alive. Here, that genre flips. You're still responsible, but responsibility is replaced with companionship. The animals save you as often as you save them, pushing stones, opening paths, trusting your lead, and lending their weight. The destination is a mountain, sure, yet the point is the bond you build over the miles between here and there. So should you play it? If the idea of a compact, wordless journey built on touch, trust, and movement sounds like a day well spent, Herdling is easy to recommend. It's emotionally direct without being manipulative, mechanically simple without being dull, and visually and musically confident enough to carry scenes where you do nothing but watch wool ripple in the wind. It won't be everybody's flavor, it isn't trying to be. But if you lean toward games that leave you a little quieter when the credits fade, this is one you'll want to carry with you, names and all.